Research has highlighted the UK's growing dependence on painkillers, with more than 1 in 10 Brits relying on medication just to get through the day.
But as doctors warn of the worrying long-term health effects of taking paracetamol daily, could medicinal marijuana be the answer?
We're joined today by Hannah Deacon, who's campaigning for greater access to the drug after seeing the huge difference it's made to her son, Alfie Dingley. They're here alongside Dr Zoe. Good morning, guys.
Morning,
Good
all.
morning.
Good morning.
Dr Zoe, 1 in 10 people are addicted to painkillers. Well, you're using painkillers.
Yeah, using painkillers every day to manage symptoms. And actually, when we think about chronic pain, the definition of that is pain that's persisted more than 12 weeks or pain that remains when the initial problem causing it has gone.
Right.
It's about 1 in 3. 1 in 3 people in the UK are experiencing chronic pain. Once you go beyond the age of 70, it's more than half. So, you know, it's a huge problem. It's almost that pain is, you know, inevitable at some point in life, and common conditions like arthritis and back pain and neck pain are probably the commonest causes, but also things like fibromyalgia, autoimmune diseases, etc.
There must be, though, I would imagine, long-term concerns about taking painkillers for too long.
Yes, there are. So things like paracetamol and ibuprofen, because we think, you know, we can just get them over the counter.
Yes.
And whilst they're great to use short-term for a few days, you know, whilst you're feeling unwell, we know that actually any medication, if used every day long-term, has potential negative side effects. And actually last year, we always knew that ibuprofen can increase the risk of things like heart disease in certain people, but we always thought paracetamol was a bit safer. But now there was a big study last year that shows that that actually can increase the risk of high blood pressure in certain people as well. So any drug, you know, as doctors, we always have to consider the benefits versus the risks. For people who can't get about and get through their day without pain, often the benefits of painkillers outweigh the risks. But it's very important that they're the right painkillers at the lowest possible dose to do the job. And things like opiates, so things like codeine, tramadol,
They're really
morphine,
addictive too, aren't they?
They are. You build up a dependence to them, so they start to work less and you often need to increase the dose. These are not appropriate for chronic pain, unless it's pain associated with things like cancer, because they don't do a good job. And like you say, you can get addicted to them and you tend to need to go up higher with
So
doses.
let's talk about medicinal cannabis then.
Yeah.
And we're going to come to Hannah and Alfie in just a moment.
Yeah.
But there will be people here sitting at home thinking, could this be the answer that they're looking for?
Yes, and in certain countries, we are seeing an increase in use of medicinal cannabis for things like chronic pain, as well as other conditions. But here in the UK, in the NHS, it's not yet a licensed medication. In the NHS, we tend to follow the guidance of NICE almost all of the time. There are exceptions. And as of yet, NICE actually require a specific cannabis-based product to be tested in huge numbers of people against a specific symptom or condition. And only when they've got that really robust evidence will they approve it and therefore it be funded in the NHS.
Well, can you... Hi, Hannah. Can you tell us a little bit about Alfie's condition and how it helps him?
So Alfie has a non-inherited genetic condition called PCDH19, which is a severe epilepsy. And up until he was 5, he was pretty much in hospital every week at the age of 5 with severe clusters of seizures, needing huge amounts of pharmaceutical drugs, which actually caused really bad side effects.
So
and
how
didn't
many
help.
seizures was he having?
About 150 a week, big chronic seizures, and his quality of life was hugely, you know, diminished. It was very
awful
poor.
for you
And
as well.
I was a
your son
full-time
going
carer.
through it,
It was, and well, our whole family. It was horrendous. We used medicinal cannabis legally in Holland in 2017, and it's just changed his life. He's actually coming up to 4 years seizure-free.
He hasn't had one
seizure in nearly 4 years.
You had to
so
battle
his quality of life is really...
You did all the research, though. You went to Holland, you tried it. You must have been nervous about giving it to him first time.
Terrified.
Right?
I mean, we had to move to another country when Alfie was very seriously ill. We did work with a paediatric neurologist in Holland. We wanted to do everything safely and legally, but it was awful. It was hugely traumatic, and that's why, you know, we still campaign to this day for access for children like Alfie, because no parent should be forced to move to another country or to do anything illegal or to do anything that isn't safe. We want safe, clinician-led prescribing for children like Alfie.
And that's the thing. You've seen the difference it makes and the difference it makes in his life. But you must feel almost a little bit guilty that you've managed to access this and other parents can't when it could really help their children.
Of course. And, you know, we ran a very high-profile campaign which helped change the law. And when the law changed, we hoped that other children would get access. That's not the reality. That there's a few children in the private sector paying thousands of pounds a month, or there's no access because there's just nothing available on the NHS. Even when doctors do want to prescribe, they're not actually supported to do that. And it's awful and it's not right. You know, you shouldn't have to run a high-profile campaign in the media and in Parliament to get access to a medicine which works as well as it has for Alfie.
It's amazing. And Alfie's been incredibly brave this morning, coming in and coming on the show and
He's
seeing
a big fan of you,
more
you know.
important, seeing himself on television.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of Tipping Point, which I think is the key part of it. But looking at himself is more important. We had this earlier with the selfie we took. Zoe, we haven't got much time left, but what's the reality for parents who may be looking at this thinking that's exactly what we need?
Yeah, so in 2008, when the law changed, it meant that there were certain conditions for which cannabis-based medicinal products could be used. And one is the type of epilepsy that Alfie has and other severe forms of epilepsy, but not for all types of epilepsy. And the other conditions were severe spasticity, that's muscle spasm in MS, and intractable nausea and vomiting, sometimes when people are having chemotherapy. But there's only one product that has been licensed for conditions like Alfie's, and some children actually need some of the other products that aren't yet licensed, and this is why they then seek support in the private sector. So we need more research to be done so we can help more people.
Well, look, thank you both for coming in and sharing your story. Alfie, it was lovely to see you.
Thank you, Alfie.
I forgot to do some talking.
That's all right. We'll do it now.
I will do a few talking.
Well, we have to go now, but you say
I tell you what, we'll chat while the weather's on,
get
shall
the
we?
local weather. We're going to do some talking with Alfie.
We're going to do some
See you on the other
chatting.
side.